Highland, Illinois, 7 killed. Uvalde, Texas, 21. Buffalo, New York, 10. El Paso, 23. Virginia Beach, 12. Santa Fe, Parkland, Sutherland Springs, Las Vegas, Tulsa, Orlando, Newtown, Aurora, Fort Hood, Columbine. Mass shootings in America happen so frequently, over 278 since 2009. It's easy to believe this is just the way things are, but is that true? Let's shrug off the apathy and have a blunt conversation about why mass shootings are so frequent in America and what proven solutions already prevent them. First, we need to define mass shootings. We'll use the definition from Everytown, a gun violence prevention organization. Any incident in which 4 or more people are shot and killed, excluding the shooter. By this measurement, over 278 mass shootings have occurred nationwide since 2009. The states with the most mass shootings being Florida, California, and Texas. 81% of mass shootings were committed with a handgun and 16% with an assault rifle. However, shootings by assault rifles were far deadlier. They resulted in 6 times as many people shot. More than half of all mass shootings utilized high-capacity magazines, which allow a shooter to fire more rounds consecutively without having to pause to reload, resulting in nearly 5 times as many people being shot compared to those with regular magazines. States have many options to prevent guns from ending up in the wrong hands, like mandatory waiting periods, which require a buyer to wait days before acquiring the gun. This provides a cooling-off period that can help prevent impulsive acts of gun violence, including gun homicides and suicides. For example, after the mass shooting at Marjory Stoneman Douglas in Parkland, Florida passed a mandatory waiting period law in 2018. States can also ban large-capacity magazines. 9 states plus the District of Columbia already have. There are also extreme risk laws. Those are orders which provide a proactive way to temporarily restrict a person showing clear signs of violence from accessing firearms. These are meant not only to prevent mass shootings, but also suicides. Under this type of order, the 4th of July 2022 Highland Park, Illinois shooter had previously had his collection of knives removed, but a couple years later his father allegedly signed off on him buying a new gun, which was then used to kill 7 innocent people. States can also restrict domestic abusers from obtaining guns. 53% of mass shootings are related to domestic violence, and 61% took place entirely within the home, meaning stopping a domestic abuser from obtaining a deadly weapon can save lives. In addition, states can require all gun owners to store their guns securely so that no one other than the owners can use them. 80% of school shooters under the age of 18 got the gun from their home or the home of a friend or relative, meaning proper storage could cut off their access to a murder weapon. And states can raise the minimum age to buy an assault rifle. The federal minimum is 18, but many states have raised it to 21 and over. The Uvalde, Texas shooter bought his assault rifles the week he turned 18 from the local gun store, before killing 21 innocent people. Had the minimum age to buy an assault rifle been higher, he wouldn't have been able to acquire the murder weapon in the first place. But do all these laws translate into fewer mass shootings? Let's compare 2 similarly sized states with very different gun laws. Missouri, with a population of 6.1 million people, and Massachusetts, with a population of 6.9 million people. In Missouri, you can buy an AR-15 at 18 years old, with no mandatory waiting period, no extreme risk law, no restrictions to domestic abusers, and no safe storage laws. The Giffords Law Center gives the state an F. In Massachusetts, you have to be at least 21 to buy an AR-15. And while there is no mandatory waiting period, there are extreme risk laws, restrictions for domestic abusers, and safe storage laws. The Giffords Law Center gives Massachusetts an A-. Since 2009, Massachusetts has had 2 mass shootings, Missouri, 7. So states can do a lot to protect themselves from gun violence, but there are as many roadblocks as there are solutions. One of those roadblocks being other states. According to the City of Chicago's latest gun trace report in 2017, over half of all recovered guns used in crimes were bought from neighboring states. with less regulation over firearms. The top offenders being Indiana at 21% of recovered guns, Mississippi at 5.1%, and Wisconsin at 4%. So even a state like Illinois, graded at an A-, can't do much to stop guns from pouring in from neighboring states. Another example of a roadblock, when New York State did attempt to restrict concealed carrying laws, the Supreme Court struck it down. And while the new bipartisan legislation passed in Congress, which expands background checks, blocks all domestic abusers from buying guns, makes new penalties for illegal gun purchases, and provides states with funding for mental health and school safety, is a start, many say it's not enough.
Enough is enough! Enough is enough!
I'm determined to ban these weapons again, and high-capacity magazines that hold 30 rounds, and to let mass shooters fire hundreds of bullets in a matter of minutes. I'm not going to stop until we do it.